So we're just going to cover how to create a GitHub account. So let's go ahead and you can say you're a student. Go ahead and do that. Welcome to GitHub. You can get some benefits for being a student, but there aren't ones that are necessarily going to be really important for you, but you can if you want. And I think you can probably skip most of these questions. I'm sure there's somewhere at the bottom where you can just say skip. Okay. All right. So did you already get through the part where you're making your account?
I think I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Just signed up for an account.
All right. So that part is relatively self-explanatory. So now in your Docassemble playground, we're going to go down to our username at the top right. And go to profile and other settings and GitHub integration. And then just click configure, and that will prompt you to authorize our server to connect to your GitHub account.
What is it?
Yep. And you just have to type in your GitHub before you do that.
Oh, I think it made me pick a weird password. So yeah, okay, that's it. He wanted a very, very strict password.
And now this is weird where it takes you back to the screen, but all you have to do is just click back to profile or go back to your playground. Actually, you can do that from this menu. Okay, so now you have GitHub connected to your Docassemble environment. And we're going to go to the folders menu to actually push something to GitHub. So folders, packages. Give this package a name, something descriptive. You can use upper and lowercase letters, but no spaces.
Just like the answer to complaint for divorce, is that far, or like something more? Okay.
Perfect name. So answer to complaint for divorce is perfect. So no spaces, but you can use upper and lowercase letters to separate the words.
Hard to not do. Like that?
Yeah, that looks perfect. Okay, let's go down to scroll down a bit. And what you see here is there's a bunch of, you can ignore almost all these other fields. I like to change the version every time I do a new commit to help me keep track of how often, so I know what version I'm on of my code. But you're on the very first push, so there's no reason to change it yet. So keep going down. Under dependencies, it's good to scroll down to docassemble.ma virtual court and add that as a dependency. That's the overall package for our whole project, but it's not going to really cause a problem if you didn't have that. So yeah, that's that one there.
Okay.
And then under interview files, this is the important part. This is where you're going to select the file that you just created. If you want to select more than one, you could hold down, I think it's Option on a Mac, and then click on more than one. You could just test that out just to experiment with that. So see how only one is highlighted now? If you hold down the Option or the Control key, one of those, you can get two things selected. There you go. Command, okay. But yeah, you only have one, so it doesn't matter. So now scroll down to template files, and you're going to select your template file.
This is it.
And there's only one, so that, yeah, it's important to know it's highlighted. That means it's actually part of the package.
Oh, okay.
And then that should be it for files. So just go down to the very bottom and click Save. It's going to save your package. And now at the bottom, scroll down again, you're going to see a GitHub button.
Okay.
So go ahead and, yep. I like to give something short and descriptive for what the changes were I just made. This is your first version, so I usually call that initial version or first version, whatever, just descriptive to you. And then click Commit. So this is actually copying your code up to GitHub. Every time you make a big change, you might want to do this process of committing the code, because then your work is going to be saved as a point in time. Like what you were saying before, like I made a change and it broke something.
So then I would just change this.
The old version. You don't
just
have
change
to
like,
change the version there to make a new version. Every time you commit, it'll save your whole history in between the commits.
okay.
The version number is just like only for you to help understand what version you were working on. So let's scroll back down to the bottom. You can see here it says this package is published on GitHub. So let's go ahead and open that up. And this is your code on GitHub. So you can see the structure of it a little bit. And what I'm going to do is create your GitHub account, give it permissions to be on the SuffolkLitLab team. Then you can transfer it. That's another step everyone's going to have to take. So let's go to Teams. And what is your GitHub username? I can see it there, but
Is this it? A Dubuque 18. A DUBUC 18.
add you as a member. Okay. And so a step that everyone will have to take once they've done this. So first they have to let me know what their GitHub username is so I can add them to the team. And now if you go down to the settings option there, I think it's going to invite you, and I'm not sure if you have to accept it before you can get this option, but scroll down to the bottom of this options menu. It's going to be something like dangerous options or something like that.
Danger zone.
Transfer ownership. So type in as the username SuffolkLitLab, all one word. And then even though it says type, you can actually copy and paste.
Okay.
Yeah, and then transfer it. Okay. That says you don't have permissions to create repositories. Okay, so you do have to accept it first.
Oh, I lost it.
So you only have one repository. So if you just click on,
Oh, is it here?
yeah, there it is. Yep. Settings, you
Nice
had
to
it.
meet you.
Okay. So yeah, we just have to transfer it again one more time. And it might even let you get that from your autocomplete menu. There we go. All right, so add Docassembly line permissions under team access, click transfer. And then I'm going to have to go in and give the whole team permissions to change it, which actually doesn't really matter for your independent project, but I'll do that anyway. And we will want to do that to make sure everybody has the ability to edit it if they need to. Okay, so that's the last step basically, is letting me know your username. And then once you transfer the package, let me know the name of the package and that it's been transferred, and I can make sure everyone has right access. And that is pretty much it. So now this URL, you're on the dashboard, but if we go to click on the repository name and copy that from the URL bar there, that's what you're going to want to put on the Trello card. That way, anyone else, if they wanted to see, well, where's the GitHub repository for this?
So where do I just put it, like in here?
Yeah.
Description?
And that's perfectly good enough. And then let's go down to the checklist and let's just make sure we understand all the rest of those checklist items. So we created the GitHub repo. We transferred it. We added the link. And then the work on issues, you don't have any issues yet, but that's more like as you're working, you're going to accumulate things you want to work on, and you can use the GitHub as a to-do list. So I'll show you that too. So if you go back to the repository, you see this issues there. That can be a place where you store anything you need to work on. And you can put things there that are like, I need to work on this before it's ready. Or it can be things that someone said this, it sounds like a good idea. I'm not going to be able to work on it this semester, but maybe the next person who works on the project will want to pick this up and work on it. So that's something you can play around with later when you want. One thing that's kind of nice is you can give things labels. So the labels can be whatever you want. to help you prioritize and triage them. And you can also create milestones, which that's really helpful for knowing what do I need to figure out to do to get it ready for me to turn in for my final project. What are things people might want to work on later? That can be a group of, you can group issues together into a milestone to help you prioritize them, essentially.
Okay.
So that's pretty much that. There's no issues there yet, but the idea is you can check that off, and then let's say you've done the review and you have new issues, you would uncheck it, and you would have moved that list back to the work on the coding part, and then you would know that's still outstanding. I still have things I have to work on there. Okay, so I think that's it pretty much for that. What we didn't do is in the packages menu, I said that's one of the checklist items, so I should probably go over it. So go back to the playground here, packages. I said, give a helpful description there. It's actually a good idea. There was a reason why I guess we put it in there. So where it says README file, that's where you can change it. Instead of saying a Docassemble extension, give it something like, this is a complaint for divorce. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory from the answer, but. Maybe it'd be helpful to say in Massachusetts, because anybody on the internet can find this and they might think it's something they could use. And I would even like spell out Massachusetts, because not everyone knows what. Even maybe USA, Massachusetts, USA.
Okay.
But you don't really need to do that part. Okay, and then you can do GitHub and then push that change back up to GitHub. So you can say like added description. And now you can truthfully check off that Trello checklist item.
It does take a little while.
Yeah, and then you'll get like a little blue pop-up that tells you when it's finished. Okay. So actually something you can check is if you go back to the open GitHub window, you'll see on the code, you'll see your changes that you just pushed up are going to be live there too, right? So now it says 3 commits. Latest one was 23 seconds ago. And it shows you the file that was changed. So we only changed this one file that added the description.
Sorry, yeah, I keep moving it. Sorry. Okay, perfect.
All right, so that I think is it. I'll definitely stop the recording, but are there any questions that you had about that?
I don't think so.
Okay.